Hello, today we're going to discuss equations that involve using the distributive property. Alright, yes, we're going to start out with a fraction. Do not be afraid of fractions. They tend to work out just fine. Alright, so the first thing we're going to have to do is distribute the 1/2 to the 4x and the 1/2 to the -8. Alright, so you just simply write that out. 1/2 times 4x, right? And then we're going to have 1/2 times 8 and 1/2 times, and that's a -8, I'm sorry, 1/2 times 4, right? We're just gonna use the coefficient to multiply. So 1/2 times 4 is 2. You'll be left with 2x, right? And then 1/2 of a -8 is a -4, so we just simply put the negative in front, and then we'll have -320. Okay, from there, this is a simple two-step equation. Now we draw a line, and we have to isolate the variable. This is our term with the variable in it, so we need to get rid of the 4. So we're going to add 4 to each side, right? And then that's going to cross out, and that's going to give us a -316. You guys have to be very careful of your signs. We don't want to make any small mistake on our signs. Now we have 2x. Whenever you see a number next to a variable, that is multiplication, so we're going to divide by the number 2. And we'll just punch that in the calculator, and 316 divided by 2 is -158. That is your answer. Now, you're going to have to check these problems. So when we check these problems, the first thing we must do is write the problem, the original problem that you were given. This is going to be worth a point on all of your quizzes and tests for the rest of the year. If you are asked to check a problem, write the original problem and then substitute. So we're going to say that x is equal to -158. Now, when you have parentheses inside of parentheses, you're going to go ahead and change the outer parentheses to brackets. So let's do that first. We're going to have 1/2 bracket, right, 4 times -158 minus 8, close bracket. Now we just do GEMDAS. Right? GEMDAS, we write that out here, shows that we're going to have to do what's inside the grouping first. When we go into grouping, right, we see it multiplication as the first operation that we see. And 4 times 158 is 632, but that's a -632. Please do not forget your negative and positive signs. Do not make those mistakes. So -632 minus 8 will be -640. Now, we still have this fraction outside. So a number next to a grouping, parentheses, or bracket means multiplication. So you're going to do 1/2 times a -640, and that is 320. So that's -320 equals -320. And when it works out perfectly, you can go ahead and check it and move on. If you have made a mistake, you'll need to go back and look through all of your steps and make sure you figure out what your mistake is. Alright, our next problem, we're going to do 2 problems and then we'll move on, is the -7 multiplied by the quantity of 2x minus 5 equals 161. What we have to do here, right, what we have to do here is multiply as -7. Don't forget that negative sign. So -7 times 2x, -7 times -5. Alright, so -7 times 2x is -14x. A -7 times a -5 is +35. Right, so when we multiply that, right, we take the sign of the number. So that's negative. We take that sign, we take the sign of that, that's negative. And then we simply write down the answer with the sign in front. So that positive 35 begs or yields a positive sign or an addition sign there. Now we're simply down to a two-step equation. So we're going to do what we have to do to isolate the term with the variable in it, and we're going to subtract 35 here. Subtract 35 from each side. So it's going to be 161 minus 35, which is 126. And we have negative 14x is equal to 146. Again, we see multiplication here. So the opposite of multiplication is division. 126 divided by a negative 14 is 9. Negative 9. So x is equal to negative 9. Now we're going to go ahead and check our work and see how we did. So we have negative 7, right? We're going to just write down what we have. 2x minus 5 equals 161. And then we'll just turn the outer parentheses into a bracket, and we'll substitute that negative 9 in. See how we do here. Oh, make that bracket. Okay, so 2 times negative 9 is negative 18, right? And we're going to minus 5 there, and we're just going to hold the negative 7 outside. And negative 18 minus 5 is negative 23. And we're going to hold that negative 7 out in front. And negative 7 times negative 23, 7 times 23 is, there we go, 161. So once you have done the check, you are free to move on. That's one of the positive things about doing equations. You know right now if your answer is right or wrong. Now we're going to deal with equations that combine like terms. What you'll see here is that you have two sides of this equation, and there are things to combine on both sides. So what we'll combine on this side is any term that has a p. 1, 2, 3. So we can combine those. So that's 13. It's 12 plus 1 is 13, right? Because every variable that does not have a coefficient has an imaginary 1 in front. So 12 plus 1 is 13. 13 plus 2 is 15p is equal to 20 minus 30 is negative 10. Now we can solve for p. We don't want to know what 15p is. We just want to know what p is. So now to get rid of the 15 and the p, we're going to have to divide that number on each side, right? So p is going to equal negative 10 over 15. Now, we are not going to turn that number into a decimal, but that is also not our final answer, right? Our final answer would be a reduced version of this, and it would be negative 2 over 3. So p would equal negative 2 over 3. You have to reduce your fractions at the end. So let's see what we're going to do with our check over here. See if we got everything right. 12p plus p, right, plus 2p equals 20 minus 30. Now, this is what we did last unit. So before we plug in for p, we're going to add up all our p's and see if we can do that and simplify it just a little bit. So 12p plus 1p plus 2p again brings us back to 15p is equal to 20 minus 30. All right, what is 15p? Well, 15p is 15 in parentheses, right? You're going to have negative 2/3. Okay, now you're going to have 20 minus 30. I'm just going to go ahead and simplify this side to get negative 10 so I don't have to worry about that later. And then I'll multiply. Now over here, you know when you multiply a whole number times a fraction, you simply put a 1 under the whole number and you multiply across. Yes, my 2 is a little messed up. So what you'll do is 15 times negative 2 is negative 30. Then you'll multiply across the bottom. 1 times 3 is 3. Negative 30 divided by 3 equals negative 10. Aha, negative 10 equals negative 10. We're moving in the right direction. All right, so let's go to another one, our last one of the day, and then we'll be done with that. All right, so we'll have 5u minus u is equal to 25 minus 11. Okay, so 5u minus u is going to be 4u. And then if we simplify on the right side as well, we'll have 14 over here. So now we just do u, right? 4u equals 14, and to get rid of these two, we're going to divide by 4 on this side, divide by 4 on that side, and u is going to be equal to 14 over 4. All right, now we have to simplify that. So 2 goes in both of those, so u is going to be 7 over 2. All right, let's see if we can check that and see how it works. 5u minus u is equal to 25 minus 11. Okay, now we're going to do this. We'll have 5u minus u is going to be 4u is equal to 25 minus 11 is 14. Right, and then we're going to do 4, and inside parentheses 7 over 2. And we'll have the same thing. 4 times 7 over 2. Right, and then we'll have, what's that, 28 divided by 2, and 28 divided by 2 is 14, so 14 equals 14. We're right again. All right, we are right again. One thing, if I have one more, this is just one I'm making up, so we'll see how that goes. Let's say we had 5x plus 10 plus 4x equals, and I'm just making things up here, we'll do 10, right, plus, let's do 70. We'll do something like that. All right, we'll do 72. We'll do 72, so we'll make that a 2 and see how this works. So what you're going to do is combine all the like terms on one side. So you're going to have 5x plus 4x equals 9x plus 10. And then over here, we're going to have 10 plus 72, so that's going to be 82. Right? Now you have 9x plus 10 equals 82. Now you're in a two-step equation. You got to move this 10 first. And then that's going to be 9x equals 72. And then you divide each side by 9. And x is equal to 8. I'm not going to check that, but I just wanted to show you how you would solve that type of problem. All right, thank you. I hope that this helped. Please respond if you want to see anything different. Thank you.